How's it going, guys? It's Hobby from Where Sunshot 1000. Today is June 15th, 2020, and today we're going to take a look at this cutoff low that's currently just off the coast of the Carolinas, which currently has about a 10% chance of developing, which is extremely low, pretty much unlikely at this point, but it's going to dump a lot of rain throughout the Carolinas throughout the week. So let's take a look at the current rainfall forecast for North Carolina. And you can see that throughout the next 5 days, potentially up to 4 to 5 inches are possible throughout the Outer Banks, even extending as far west as Raleigh. And that's worrying when we see that rain move all the way that far to the east, because it's one thing to rain a lot along the coast, which although it could cause some localized flooding, it won't really cause major river flooding if it rains a lot on the coast, because obviously that water has somewhere to go. It could just drain out into the ocean. However, when we see those heavy rainfall forecasts extend all the way to the more inland portions where there's a lot of rivers that are completely disconnected from the ocean, then that's a worry, because that means there is definitely a possibility of flash flooding or river flooding when there's a lot of rain in the more inland portions where rivers flooding is more common. So we could see that rain extend all the way towards the extreme western portions of Virginia and North Carolina even, and maybe all the way to the Appalachian Mountain Range as well. So definitely keep that in mind over the next 5 days, because maybe flooding might be possible in this region, and I'm pretty sure this area is so far above average for this time of the year when it comes to rainfall. So definitely watch out for that, because if that's the case, then flooding is more likely in that area, in your area. But to just explain why this has a low chance of developing, the first thing we have to look at is the water vapor imagery, which currently gives evidence to how disorganized this storm really is. Let me pop it up, because bear with me here. Here's the water vapor imagery, and you're gonna see that just to the south of this low pressure system, which is currently located around here, it's pretty much has been meandering over the Carolinas over the past several days, and it's expected to do that over the next 24 to 36 hours, because there's very weak steering currents as of right now. So this low pressure system doesn't really know where to go. It's pretty much cut, like the name suggests, it's pretty much cut off from the jet stream, so it can't easily move towards the east, where it wouldn't be a factor anymore for the United States. But since it's cut off, it's pretty much it doesn't have much steering currents that could really steer it towards any direction over like a fast period of time, or over like a vast area, because it just doesn't have enough steering currents, and it's currently meandering over the Carolinas, and that's a worry because it's gonna dump a lot of rain in that region. But the reason why it has a low chance of developing is because just the sheer amount of dry air that's entrained with it. It is possible for tropical cyclones to develop even under the influence of dry air. However, the chance of that becomes very, very unlikely, because the air becomes too stable within the center of circulation to really start any convection within the low pressure, and it really limits the storm from getting its energy when there's a lot of stability within the center of circulation and surrounding it. So that's likely the main reason why this is gonna have a difficult time to develop. Just too much dry air with this, and it won't really develop, as it has a low chance of developing as a result. But if we take a look, now let's take a look at the rest of the United States, and you can see that it's fairly quiet right now for a summer day, because usually during a summer day we would see numerous pop-ups of thunderstorms all throughout the United States, potentially severe. But however, it's a pretty nice day throughout the United States, and it's due to dominating ridges that are pretty much allowing the northern, that's pretty much allowing this sunshine and a lot of this stable air to dominate throughout the United States. So there isn't really much thunderstorm activity as a result. If we take a look at the wind map and the pressure map, the darker reds and the greens represent higher pressure, while the blues represent a little bit lower pressure. And you could see that there's a huge ridge dominating throughout the East Coast and Northeast in general, and even extending as far south as the Southeast. Although we have that small low pressure system right here, it isn't strong enough to really dampen the entire Southeast with thunderstorms, because this high pressure is just very, very strong right now. However, it is enough to dump a little bit of rain in North Carolina, South Carolina as of right now. And this is based off of the European forecast, by the way. This is Monday 7 p.m., which is right around this time. And you could see that this ridge is just dominating. And even if we go further to the west, where we do see a little bit more areas of lower pressure within the Rocky Mountain region. However, there's still a high pressure dominating over North Dakota right now, as it's evident by the spin right here, where high pressure spin in a clockwise flow, and you could clearly see that clockwise flow over North Dakota. However, the areas where we do see a low pressure system bringing a little bit of rain is towards the Northwest Pacific, where we kind of do see a low pressure, areas of low pressure right here that aren't really defined, but it's dumping a little bit of rain over the Pacific Northwest and throughout the Rocky Mountain region. As we check towards the radar, we see that rain dominating. However, if we take a look at the Futurecast radar, it's expected to continue throughout the day and going into Tuesday, as we see. And then there's actually a possibility of snow over Montana and Idaho as this low pressure system continues to move towards the east. And by Wednesday, the rain should end for the Pacific Northwest region. I'm talking about Washington and Oregon. And then that rain should move on towards the Rocky Mountain region, where we could see some snow very late this year in June, which is quite surprising in the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountain region. So keep in mind in that. And then as that low pressure system continues to move towards the east, we're gonna see those thunderstorms begin to pop up probably late Wednesday, as this cooler low pressure system coming from the cold waters of the Pacific Northwest move into the ridge of high pressure that's bringing extremely warm temperatures throughout the Mississippi River Valley and Midwest. And as that cooler low pressure system, as that cooler trough encounters that warmer air, we will see the chance of thunderstorms going into Wednesday and probably beyond, as the GFS model is suggesting. As let's go a little bit back further to this. As of right now, we see so this, as of right now, we see that low pressure system continue to move towards the east, and we see a line of rain that the GFS is currently trying to develop as it continues to move towards the east. And we see that pretty large line of rain showers and even some thunderstorms embedded within these rain showers. And I wouldn't be surprised if this could be a large squall line of thunderstorms that the GFS is suggesting, because usually, keep in mind that the GFS's depiction of the radar isn't very precise. It pretty much shows a larger swath of rain than what actually occurs. Usually, the GFS puts usually in once this forecast comes about later during Wednesday, usually the rain will be more scattered than this. It'll be less defined like this. area of rain will be less large than, it'll be smaller than this. It'll probably be scattered thunder showers. However, there still could be that chance of severe thunderstorms, especially since we're seeing that northwest wind come from Canada, which will bring that cooler air closer to the warmer air, and that'll create instability throughout the Mississippi River Valley. And as we move on to Friday, that squall line begins to weaken. However, a new low pressure system develops from the Rocky Mountain region, and then we could see more thunderstorms going into Saturday and extending all the way into Sunday throughout the Mississippi River Valley. So definitely keep that in mind if you're in the Midwest, because there's definitely thunderstorms on the way, and it's going to come more consistently later during the week, so watch out for that. And as for the east coast of the US, we see that cutoff low. It will strengthen a little bit before it makes landfall. However, there's just going to be too much dry air that will hinder this from developing into a tropical depression or a tropical storm. And if we take a look at the current vertical wind shear, and if we take a look at the winds aloft compared to the winds around the ground, we see that there's a stark contrast in wind direction, which represents that there's extremely strong wind shear that's gonna hinder this and prevent this from developing into anything more than a low pressure system. So that's definitely good news. However, that rain will still impact the Carolinas and then move all the way up to the northeast coast eventually, we're gonna see a weakness within the troughs where this, a weakness with the ridges, my bad, as this trough moves through, and that'll bring it up north, fortunately, so it won't dump that much rain anymore over the Carolinas as it moves north. So that's the forecast for the US this week. If we take a look at the Atlantic hurricane season, besides the cutoff low that has an extremely low chance of developing, there's really nothing going on in the Atlantic as of right now. However, I still want to pay attention to the Central America, because there's a lot of convection happening in this area. And if we take a look at the chance of and if we take a look at how favorable the conditions are in the Central America region, it's going to show you that the conditions for tropical cyclone development is highly favorable as of right now. It only takes one low pressure system to really develop into a tropical storm. So I'm definitely watching the Central America region over the next several days, because that could mean that we might see development over there in the future, since not only that there's a lot of convection in this region, but the conditions are becoming more and more favorable as we're entering more into the more active part of the hurricane season. So definitely at least keep an eye on Central America region in terms of tropical cyclone development. Although it's not forecast as of right now, it still could happen within the next week or two. We just have to see how things pan out over the next week. But anyways, guys, I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you like this content. Make sure to like if you like this content, and I hope you guys have a good day.